Welcome, I'm Harriet Agbini. Tonight, former President Olusegun Obasanjo accuses President Jonathan of masterminding the postponement of the general elections. Federal government says allegations is false. Former military President Ibrahim Babangida urges continued support for the military, says general elections will hold on the rescheduled dates. Nigerian military repels attack by Boko Haram militants on Gombe City. And a court in Senegal orders Chadian former President Hissène Habré to stand trial for war crimes.
On Business News tonight, it was a busy day for Valentine shoppers as they purchased gift items for their loved ones.
Ireland sports news, Nigerian strikers Brown Ideye and Yakubu Ayegbede shoot West Brom and Reading into FA Cup quarter-finals.
We begin tonight with what could be termed a bombshell by former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who was accused the president of postponing the 2015 elections because of what he describes as, quote, the president's desperation to win the 2015 presidential election, end of quote. Chief Obasanjo said this in Abeokuta while answering questions from journalists at his hilltop mansion in the Ogun State capital. The former president also cautioned against any plan to remove the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Atahiru Jega, saying this could destroy the credibility of the elections.
The former president still has a couple of things on his mind which he feels must be made known before it's too late. One of them is the issue of the postponed general elections. Chief Obasanjo strongly believes that President Goodluck Jonathan engineered the shift in the polls because he wants to win by all means possible.
The president has a grand plan. A grand plan to ensure that by hook or by crook, he wins the election, or if it all fails, he scuttles it and creates chaos, confusion, and unpleasantness. His aides and associates are working a script. They are playing a script, which of course must have got his endorsement, if not initiated by him. What again will look to me is that the president is trying to play Gbagbo. Gbagbo was the former president of Côte d'Ivoire. And Gbagbo made sure he postponed the election in his country until he was sure he will win.
He is not through yet. The former president says he doubts if the military has the ability to win the ongoing war against terrorism.
What you have not been able to achieve in 5 years, you will now achieve in 6 weeks. Well, let us wait and see. That will be my own thing. But I think when people want to look for excuses, they should look for excuses that are tenable.
And as speculations make the round on the possibility of the INEC chairman being removed by the president, Chief Obasanjo says this should not be considered at all.
If anything is done to remove Jega, it will actually heighten the disbelief of people about the president wanting to have a fair, free, transparent, and credible election. And if even the president wins genuinely, many people will not believe it. He will have undermined the credibility of the result of the election.
In the face of all these, Chief Obasanjo advises President Goodluck Jonathan and his supporters not to do anything to undermine the nation's democracy, just as he challenges the PDP and APC leaders to ensure that the democratic process is not truncated.
Now, the presidency has forwarded these comments coming from Chief Obasanjo. The special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Dr. Reuben Abati, made the government's position known in a press statement. Dr. Abati says that the former president's comments are, quote, odious and repugnant, end of quote. According to Dr. Abati, it is obvious that Chief Obasanjo has willfully chosen to close his eyes to the present administration's good works and intentions, and that for reasons best known to him, Chief Obasanjo has set his mind on regime change by fair or foul means. The president's spokesman says, quote, for the record, President Jonathan has no such intention and will continue to give the greatest possible support to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and other relevant federal agencies to ensure that the rescheduled elections are successfully conducted, end of quote. The president's spokesman also alleges that Chief Obasanjo's plot with others within and outside the country to thwart the general elections and foist an unconstitutional interim national government, which he hopes to heap on the nation, is well known to the federal government. Dr. Abati adds that as President Jonathan has also assured the nation, the rescheduling of the general elections is in the best interest of the country and was never driven by any ulterior motive on the part of government, as Chief Obasanjo and others have alleged. Also reacting to the statement by the former president, media director of the Jonathan Campaign Organization, Femi Fani-Kayode, says it was the electoral umpire that postponed the election and not the president. In a telephone interview with Channels Television, Mr. Fani-Kayode explained that President Goodluck Jonathan had said that he had no plan to remove the INEC chairman, Professor Atahiru Jega. Therefore, the former president's allegation is unfounded.
It is not the government or President Jonathan that changed the date of the election or postponed it. It was INEC. Everybody knows this. The reasons that INEC adduced for that were reasons that were I believe justifiable, and apart from the security issue, there were also other reasons, PVCs and so on and so forth, whereby 34% of the Nigerian people would have been disenfranchised if that election had gone on today. And I think that it was the right and proper thing for INEC to do to postpone the elections. Now, for President Obasanjo to say this, it calls for a much fuller response, and I believe that we will respond to this in the appropriate manner at the appropriate time. But the immediate reaction is that there's no basis of truth in it. It's not true, and President Obasanjo has got his facts wrong. This is a decision that was taken by the military themselves, and they have given that assessment. They have said that in 6 weeks they'll be able to do more than enough to be able to create the necessary stability in the Northeast. But you see, again, it goes to show that perhaps the former president, did not fully understand the ethos of the rationale behind this decision. It wasn't just about getting rid of the unrest or the insurgency and the rebellion in the Northeast. It wasn't just about that. It was also about ensuring that we had enough troops on the ground throughout the rest of Nigeria so that those soldiers could help the police, assist the police in their attempt to ensure that there was no violence during the elections, especially to protect the 700,000 or so INEC officials who were to conduct the elections throughout the country. So yes, it was about mounting a massive attack against Boko Haram in the Northeast and pushing them back as far as possible. But it was also, and they needed all the men that they could get to do that, but it was also about ensuring that we had they could enforce stability elsewhere. So it was a two-pronged approach. Well, the president has made it abundantly clear that he has no such plan. He has also said that he appointed Professor Jega and that he has no plan to remove him. And we must take him at his word. I really do believe that it's important for us not to be too critical of anybody right now. What we need to do is to focus on the fact that we are fighting an election. Go to the people and let the people's, let the people's voice be heard and let their vote.
The media director of the Jonathan Campaign Organization, Femi Fani-Kayode. Now, amidst the controversy over the shift in the date of the general elections, former military president General Ibrahim Babangida says he's optimistic that the polls will hold on the rescheduled dates of March 28 and April 11. He gave this assurance when members of the Ariwa for Change paid him a courtesy visit at his hilltop residence in Minna, the Niger state capital, north-central Nigeria. The former president also appealed to all Nigerians to support the military in its effort to tackle the Boko Haram sect, explaining that the current insecurity is a challenge to the whole country and not just the northeast.
Every confidence that there will be elections on the new dates. I think people shouldn't see it as restricted to Northeast alone. It is the problem of the entire country. Is Nigeria in a situation of insurgency and not necessarily Yobe, Borno or Adama. It's the whole country that involved, and Nigerians should see it from that perspective. And then they will support the military for any action that will bring about the end to this insurgency. The outcome depends on you and me. If we vote in a very peaceful environment, there will be good outfit.
Former military president General Ibrahim Babangida. In part 2, after the break, some residents of Onitsha take to the streets to protest high tariff by the Enugu Electricity Distribution Company. That's in a moment.